Don't look back, just run!
The cold seeped through my coat, a familiar Chicago winter welcome as I descended into the Washington Wabash station. The evening rush had thinned to a trickle of tired commuters, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. I just wanted to get home, thaw out, and forget the day. The platform was nearly empty, save for a few scattered souls staring at their phones, lost in their own worlds. The air was thick with the scent of wet concrete and ozone. Then I saw him. He was standing at the far end of the platform, just beyond the yellow safety line. At first glance, he was unremarkable, a man in a dark, heavy coat, hat pulled low. But something was off. While everyone else shivered or paced to stay warm, he stood perfectly still, like a statue carved from the winter night itself. His stillness was unnerving, a pocket of absolute calm in the bustling city. I tried to ignore him, pulling out my phone to scroll through a meaningless feed, but my eyes kept darting back. He hadn't moved an inch. His head was slightly tilted, as if listening to a sound only he could hear. A distant rumble signaled the approaching train, and a collective sigh of relief seemed to pass through the handful of us waiting. We shuffled forward, ready to escape the cold. Everyone, that is, except him. As the train's lights cut through the tunnel's darkness, he finally moved. He turned his head slowly, and even from a distance, I felt his gaze lock onto mine. A jolt, cold and sharp, went through me. It wasn't a threatening look. Not exactly. It was knowing, as if he saw right through my tired exterior to the anxieties churning within. My breath hitched. The world seemed to slow down. The roar of the train became a distant hum. The train screeched to a halt, doors hissing open. The other passengers boarded, eager for the warmth and light inside. I hesitated, my feet feeling like they were bolted to the platform. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the man. He just stood there, watching me, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on his lips. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone who held a secret that involved me. Why wasn't he getting on? The doors were about to close. My mind screamed at me to get on the train, to leave, to get away from this strange, silent figure. But I was frozen, caught in his silent challenge. The warning chime for the closing doors blared, snapping me out of my trance. I lunged forward, just squeezing through the doors as they slid shut. Panting, I pressed my face against the cool glass of the window, searching for him on the platform. He was still there, in the exact same spot. As the train began to pull away, he raised a hand. It wasn't a wave, he simply held it up, palm facing me, and then slowly, deliberately, curled his fingers into a fist. A gesture of finality, a gesture of capture. The train plunged back into the darkness of the tunnel, and the station, along with the man, was gone. I sank into a seat, my heart hammering against my ribs. My reflection in the dark window showed a pale, frightened face. Who was he? What did he want? The rational part of my brain tried to dismiss it. Weirdo. Just another city eccentric. But I couldn't shake the feeling, the deep, chilling certainty that this was not a random encounter. I got off at my stop, Fullerton, and hurried out of the station, looking over my shoulder every few seconds. The streets felt different, the familiar storefronts now seeming to hold dark, watchful corners. Every shadow seemed to stretch, every passerby a potential threat. The man's image was burned into my mind, his stillness, his knowing gaze, that final, chilling gesture. When I finally reached my apartment, I fumbled with the keys, my hands shaking. I slammed the door shut, locking and deadbolting it, leaning against it as I tried to catch my breath. Safe. I was safe. I went to the window and peered down at the street below. Nothing. Just the usual late-night traffic. The glow of streetlights on wet pavement. I tried to tell myself it was over. Just a strange story to tell my friends tomorrow. A spooky moment on the L train. But as I stood there, watching the city that was my home, I felt a new kind of fear. A fear that my safe little world had been breached, that someone had seen me, truly seen me, and left a mark. Then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number. My blood ran cold. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the screen. With a deep, trembling breath, I opened it. It contained just 2 words. 2 words that made the floor drop out from beneath me. 2 words that confirmed my deepest fears. It said, "I know." Suddenly, my apartment didn't feel so safe anymore. The locks on the door felt flimsy, the windows like gaping holes into the night. I was back on that cold platform, trapped in the gaze of the man in the dark coat. The train had been an escape, but I realized now it hadn't taken me away from him. It had only delivered me to the next stage of his game. The question wasn't who he was anymore. The question was, what was he going to do next, and how could I possibly stop him? The city outside my window was no longer a backdrop to my life. It had become a hunting ground, and I was the prey. Every distant siren, every creak of the old building, every shadow that danced in the corner of my eye was him. He was everywhere. The game had just begun. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear what happens next, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. A loud bang. Lights flicker. Smoke begins to rise. People freeze. Then panic explodes. Screams. Running feet. Fear everywhere. In a world painted with chaos, where the brushstrokes are fear and panic, have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the calm in the storm? We're about to explore a story that does just that. Imagine a crowded theater, the murmur of anticipation hanging in the air. Suddenly, a plume of smoke billows from backstage. A single word, fire, slices through the chatter, and the world erupts. People surge, a human wave, crashing towards the exits. Eyes wide with terror, screams swallowed by the growing pandemonium. But amidst this frantic sea, one man stands still. His name is Marcus Hill. While everyone else is a blur of motion, a frantic scramble for survival, the camera slows, focusing on Marcus. He's not a statue. He's an anchor. His feet are planted, his expression not of fear, but of intense focus. It's a moment that defies instinct, a pause that screams louder than the surrounding chaos. This isn't a story about a fire. It's a story about what happens in the moments we are most tested, when fear took over. One man stopped, and in that stillness, an entirely different story began to unfold. What did he see that no one else did? Why did he choose stillness over flight? Stick with me as we unravel the profound mystery of Marcus Hill. So, what is it about Marcus that allows him to find this point of stillness when the world is literally on fire around him? To understand this, we have to rewind. Marcus wasn't a superhero. He was an architect, a man who spent his life designing structures, understanding stress points, and planning for contingencies. His mind was a blueprint of cause and effect. For years, his job was to foresee chaos and engineer a way through it. He designed buildings to withstand earthquakes, to guide people to safety. Not with panic, but with logic. His life was a training ground for this exact moment, even though he never knew it. This inherent training shaped his perception. When the alarm bell of primal fear rang in everyone else's mind, a different bell rang for Marcus. It was the bell of problem solving. His senses, instead of being overwhelmed by the noise and the smoke, were gathering data. He wasn't just seeing a panicked crowd, he was seeing flow dynamics. He saw how the main exit was becoming a bottleneck, a point of fatal compression. He saw the secondary exits, ignored by the panicked herd. His stillness wasn't an action. It was the highest form of action. It was observation, analysis, and strategy, all happening in the blink of an eye. He wasn't frozen by fear. He was activated by it. This brings us to a powerful concept: the observer effect in our own lives. Most of us are participants in our own panic. The fear hits, adrenaline floods our system, and we react, often without thinking. We become part of the stampede. Marcus demonstrates a different path. By becoming an observer, even for a few crucial seconds, he stepped outside the emotional contagion of the crowd. He detached from the collective hysteria and connected with a deeper, more analytical part of himself. This is a skill, not a superpower. It's what pilots, surgeons, and firefighters are trained to do. They practice a form of disciplined calm, a mental stop. Look, and listen before acting. Think about the panics in your own life. Maybe not a fire, but a sudden job loss, a relationship crisis, or a scary diagnosis. Our instinct is to flail, to react, to run. But what if we could be more like Marcus? What if we could give ourselves permission to just stand still for a moment? To breathe. To observe the situation not as a victim in the middle of it, but as an analyst watching from the edge. What new exits? What unseen opportunities might we discover if we were being carried away by the current of our own fear? It's about creating a space between the stimulus, the scary event, and our response. In that space lies our power, our freedom, and our ability to choose a better path than the one panic would choose for us. Now let's go back to that theater. Marcus's stillness has a ripple effect. A few people jostled near him. Notice, in a world of frantic movement, his stillness is magnetic, jarring. It breaks their panicked trance. A young woman, about to be crushed against a wall, sees him. Her eyes meet his. In his calm gaze, she doesn't find fear. She finds a question, a possibility. She stops. The man holding her hand stops. Another person, then another. A small, silent island of calm begins to form around Marcus in the middle of the raging river of people. He hasn't said a word. He hasn't yelled instructions. His very state of being has become the instruction. He then does something incredibly simple. He raises his arm and points, not towards the clogged main exit, but towards a small, overlooked door marked with a dimly lit exit sign to the side of the stage. The door everyone had forgotten. His action is deliberate, calm, and clear. It cuts through the noise. The small group around him follows his gaze, their brains finally clicking out of fight or flight and into problem-solving mode. They see the other way out. This small group, now moving with purpose instead of panic, peels off from the main herd. Their orderly movement creates a new current, and others begin to notice. The chain reaction of panic begins to meet a counter-chain reaction of purpose. This illustrates a profound leadership principle. Often, we think of leaders as the loudest people in the room, the ones given the most commands. But true leadership can be the quietest. It's about embodying the state you want to create in others. Marcus didn't try to control the crowd. He controlled himself. And by controlling himself, he influenced the crowd. He became a beacon of coherence in a field of incoherence. His calm wasn't passive. It was a powerful, active force that reordered the chaos around him. How many times have we seen a panicked situation, whether in an office or a family, made worse by a leader who is also panicking? And how powerful is it when one person remains centered, providing a stable point for everyone else to orient themselves? Marcus's story is a testament to the fact that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do to lead others is to first lead yourself to a place of stillness. What can we take from this for our own lives? It's about cultivating our own inner Marcus. This starts with mindfulness, the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about learning to observe our own thoughts and emotions without immediately getting swept away by them. Simple practices, like focusing on your breath for a few minutes a day, build this muscle. It's like taking your brain to the gym. You're training yourself to find that point of stillness. So when the fire inevitably breaks out in your life, you have a place of calm to return to. You've practiced the drill. It's also about changing our relationship with fear. Fear is a natural, essential signal. The problem isn't the fear itself. It's our blind, reactive obedience to it. Marcus felt fear. You can be sure of that. The smoke was real. The danger was real. But he had learned to see fear as a data point, not a dictator. He acknowledged it, and then asked, "Okay, what useful information are you giving me?" By questioning the fear instead of just reacting to it, he accessed a higher level of intelligence. We can all do this. The next time you feel that jolt of anxiety, try to pause. Ask yourself, what is this fear telling me? What is the actual threat? And what is just my mind's projection? What is the most rational, effective step I can take right now? By doing this, you reclaim your power from the primal brain and give it back to your more evolved, strategic mind. You stop being a puppet of your emotions and start becoming the architect of your responses. In the quiet theater of your own mind, you choose to stop. And in that stillness, you find the way out. The story of Marcus Hill isn't just about surviving a fire. It's a metaphor for navigating the complexities of modern life. We are constantly bombarded with information, with crises, with reasons to be afraid. Our collective attention is pulled in 1,000 directions, creating a kind of low-grade, constant panic. The ability to stand still, to disconnect from the noise, and connect with our own inner wisdom is no longer a luxury, it's a critical survival skill. The world will always provide a reason to run. The challenge is to find the courage, the discipline, and the presence of mind to stop, to see clearly, and to choose our own path. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration today. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that dives deep into the human experience. I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments below. When was a time you found calm in the chaos? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Marcus notices an elderly man in a wheelchair, stuck near the platform edge. Smoke thickens. The old man's hands tremble. "Old man weak. Please, don't leave me." People shout at Marcus to run. Fire flickers closer. Close up on Marcus' face, fear versus determination. Courage begins with a choice. Marcus covers the man's face with his jacket. Wheelchair jammed. He lifts the man onto his back and moves through the smoke, coughing. Heartbeat sound grows louder. Marcus spots a maintenance tunnel. He stumbles, nearly falls, then pushes forward. Firefighters break through the smoke just in time. Silence. Then relief. Not all heroes wear uniforms. Some just refuse to walk away.